So you've held like 7 roles at Zoom, which I think might be like a first for a guest on our show. So I'd love to kind of walk through your career progression and kind of those different stages of your journey at Zoom. You were an SDR for I think like 5-ish months before you got promoted into an AE role. Like what made you so successful as an SDR at Zoom, and sort of how did you like, what was the SDR role like at Zoom back then?
Yeah, well, so personally, I kind of mentioned how I was looking to break into the tech sales, so I didn't come from this. So my answer really is just like a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, to be frank. So when I moved for this job, I realized that there was going to be a sacrifice involved, and I know we didn't get into that too much prior, but I actually moved from close to where you are. I moved from the San Francisco Bay Area, so I was out in San Jose, California, which is where our headquarters is. And my mindset really was, I moved my whole family. I had 2 kids at the time. I wasn't going to move my family halfway across the country and not give it everything I had. It was kind of like a proving moment that it was. So I think this mindset of, so first day, what was the previous record? How do I go beat that? Second day, what was the record that I just broke? How do I go beat that? And I just kind of had that mindset from day one. Again, a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, and wanted to prove that I could make this work. So yeah, it was more of a mindset. I do think the other element of it, and this is not everybody might. This isn't like a teachable thing, but I came from owning my own business. That's what I did prior to entering as an SDR. So again, I was willing. I just wanted to get in somehow. I didn't care what the role was. No ego about it by any means. And but I had the business. Like if somebody gave me keys to the door right now and said, "Hey, you own a Zoom building. Good luck. Go after it." That was the mindset that I had. I basically owned my own franchise, and I was going to go figure out a way to make it work.
I love that approach. I mean, I think I had the same sort of chip on my shoulder and mindset when I first started at my previous role at Lattice, where I was hired as like this early marketing person. But from my perspective, I was like, I'm going to run this thing forever. Like I'm going to be the VP of marketing. Like this is my job. And I just kind of came in with that approach. And I think, and then that also elevated like what I did every day. It wasn't like I just kind of like sat in my role. I was like, okay, I'm going to try and bear hug and much of this business and work my ass off too, to kind of get it done. Do you think like, because every SDR in history like wants to go be an AE, they want to do exactly what you did. Like, what advice do you have for them? Is it really just it comes down to mindset and hard work? Is that kind of what you would say to them?
I think that, yeah, so as you go up in different roles, what I've learned, right, is a lot less of it is in your control, especially when you go from when you make that switch from IC to manage a leader. Things start leaving your control on a day-to-day basis. And the benefit of an SDR and an AE, but the earlier on roles, really you can outwork your job. And I really do think that's true. Again, as things start becoming out of your control, that you have to change your mindset. You have to adapt to that. But I think that's the best part about that role, is you really truly can outwork the number out that. So mindset and hard work, I truly do believe that. But again, I think the common theme is just going to be treating it like it's your business too. The other, from a mindset standpoint, the thing I think that was the most helpful in the same context of owning a business was that nobody was going to, it's very easy, probably maybe more so as an AE, but it's like, oh, I don't have that tool. So that's why I didn't hit my number. Or I didn't get given, this level of support. So that's why I didn't hit my number. So if you go back to the owning your business mindset, nobody's going to say, hey, your bathroom's really dirty. And you go, well, somebody else will go clean that. No, you have to go find a way to go make it work. And so, and maybe live outside stop thinking of it as you have to live within the confines of just kind of what was given to you. So I don't know if it's kind of a little bit longer of an answer, but yeah, mindset and hard work.
No, I think it's a super important lesson, because I think too many SDRs and especially in SDR world, it's like, there's too many cool tools. Everyone wants to use this thing and that thing, and they're going to try and automate it and use AI SDRs and whatever. And it's like, it's kind of just a grind, and you kind of just gotta push forward and reach out to people and be a person and have that mindset. And that's like what ultimately works. I think it's honestly like a very important lesson that I think gets lost on, I don't know, like the new generation of outbound and kind of how we talk about that role, which is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So after SDR, you move to an AE role, which I assume you're starting to close business and kind of really run the full sales process. Like, what was that transition like for you? Like, how did your skill set change? Like, I assume you kind of carried forward that same mindset and ownership mentality, but like, what was that journey like of sort of shifting your skill set to just kind of attracting business to, okay, now I got to actually run the full funnel and close the business too?
I think for me, and I'm sure everybody's different in this answer. So I'm not telling you how to think by any means, but the hardest part is then transitioning to asking people for their money. That's if you, I think again, it's a benefit that I ran my own business. I was very comfortable doing that. Had to, you have to. Wasn't at first, definitely. So, but I think that's the same answer as, when I went, you go to start asking people for money and you got to kind of change your mindset around them. So being better as an AE meant understanding their business better instead of like as an SDR, it's very much about you and you're trying to get your number, you're trying to make your calls, and it's all about you and your role. And the transition to AE is I had to make it all about them and about the customer and I had to do that in order to earn the right to start asking people for their money. You never had to do that as an SDR prior to that. So that would be the biggest mindset shift.